Hello, so this is going to be a video on gas mask satchels because somebody asked me about a particular design, so I thought what I'd do is rather than do a video specifically just about one kind of gas mask satchel, because to be honest I'd find that quite boring. Well, I'm sure a lot of the audience would. You know, what I want to do in this video is show you a few different kinds of satchels with kind of interesting varied designs, so it's not just, you know, here is a type of satchel. This let me try and talk about it for 10 odd minutes. So, the satchel type in question is the sort of Soviet style one, but this actually predates, you know, like modern Soviet, well not modern Soviet, Soviet Union doesn't exist, but you know, when there was all the Warsaw Pact stuff during like the 60s to the 90s. These are the designs that predate that, because the British General Service respirators from World War II basically had this exact same design satchel, so I'll go into that. But this is the kind of satchel design you'd use for box respirators, and when I say box respirators I mean ones with a box style filter. So that's an EO14 in this one. Let's put that back in there and I'll show you the bag layout. So how this bag works, obviously as you can see you wear it over your shoulder like that. I'm pretty sure it's meant to be one side over a shoulder, one side under a shoulder, so it's the most comfortable and it doesn't get in your way as much. So what you've got in the bag is 3 sections. Now some of these bags may vary and only have 2 sections or whatever, but that's kind of irrelevant to how the bag works. So what you have in here is a section for the filter. That's the most important section in a sense. You've got a section your mask sits in, which is normally the front widest layer, and then you've got a section for your hose. Now how this bag works is if we flip it upside down, some of these bags are more obvious than others. What you can see there is there's a bit with like 2 little wooden bits put into the bag, which are supports for the filter. Now the material will be made in such a way, and I don't know if it's obvious on this bag, on some it is and some it isn't, that there's basically a hole you can breathe through here. And on this one, of course, which is Sod's Law, the one I want to show you for the video, I can't seem to find it. But regardless, that's how it works. You can breathe through the bottom of the bag there when the filter's in it. Some of them, like the East German ones, actually have like a big circle hole in the bottom. The British General Service respirator bags actually have like a grate on the bottom there. But the idea is the filter can still be in the bag, you can have the bag done up, and there's a hole in the bottom of the bag so you can actually breathe through it. But obviously not a hole where anything would fall out, it's like quite a small hole. Now you can actually see on that side, there are some little sort of bits done in it. So it might be that for whatever reason they actually want you to put the filter in that side, which seems quite strange to me. But, or they might be genuine tears, because generally I thought you'd always have the filter sitting on the feet of the thing, which makes sense. But anyway, let me get this out and show you. So you'd have your, obviously, mask and hose in one section, so let's put that in there. I'm not going to breathe through this, but I will show you how it assembles. This is the Polish version of the SHM41, the OM14. But that's kind of beside the point. So let me put that down a second. Now, let's get the filter out and let's get the bag assembled so I can try and find a thing. So what I'm going to now do is put it in this section with the holes there, even though I think it should be in the section with the feet on it, but regardless. Now it definitely should be in the other section, I'll tell you why. Because in the other section there is the connector that some of these Warsaw Pact bags have, which is quite good, so you can actually tie the filter in place so it doesn't move. So yeah, it definitely should be in this section, but the thing I don't quite get is where the filter hole's gone. Oh, there's my P3 particle pad that I popped in here. I'll pop that back in. But yeah, that's how in any way it should work, is somewhere down here there should be a thing that lets in air. I mean, how it might work on this bag is that they've designed it so the holes are in the other section, it sits here, because it's elevated, you can still draw air through. But the point of these kind of satchel bags is that everything can be assembled in the bag, ready to use. You kind of just screw in the hose to the filter and the mask, then you know you're all good to go. So these bags are quite clever in that regard. They're perfectly set up for using with a box respirator style filter. The bag obviously supports the weight of the filter, and then you could have your mask on going into the bag, you know, fairly straightforward. I've shown that before in other videos, and that's how it all works. So these are a good design in my opinion, you know, they're straightforward and to the point. Okay, now for the British carry satchels, that the S6 came in, and then the S10, and Avon still uses I think for the FM12. and this is kind of an evolution of the British light anti-gas respirator bag, but these are more importantly done. So the main idea of these bags is you have a waterproof bag that either velcros or buttons up there, or both on some of these, and then you've got a very simple bag design inside. So how this works is you've got your mask sits in one way, so I'll just pull that out. So your mask sits in flush on one direction of the bag, and then your filter sits in a little pouch, if you can see that, down the side, that velcros up or buttons up or whatever. So there's your filter, so you can get the filter out and attach it to the mask, and that's literally it for the bag. Nice and straightforward. So that's all that's in there, but a very good bag design. So I thought I'd show you these because it's what a few different types of masks use. It's very simple, but it works. For a 40mm style mask, in my opinion, this is all you need in the bag. A bag that can hold the mask and the filter at the same time. You could probably fit spare filters in there if you wanted to, because I'll show you once the mask's back in. You've still got a bit of room in there, so you know you could fit definitely another filter on that side of the mask. I'm going to point out with this video, I'm not going to cover absolutely every kind of bag design. That's why I'm showing you a few different designs that are quite varied. And I'm specifically not going to show you any bags which are just where you've got a bag that buttons up and the mask and the filter sit attached to each other and just sit in the bag, you know. The ones that are literally, you could use a carrier bag for the exact same thing. Now I assume on this is a drainage port or something like that at the bottom, because most of these do have a system, so if water does get into the bag it drains out rather than damaging the mask and filter. There's also another little thing in here so you can fit in, you know, like a drawstring, well not a drawstring, but I guess an additional string to tie the bag to you. Some of the later variants, this obviously came with camo covers on, so they're in DPM or whatever, not just in like an olive drab colour. Some of them also have like additional pockets on the inside, but this is like the most simplified version. Then, you know, as you go up the later versions, some of them have more bells and whistles on, but they're fundamentally the same bag design. Now I'll put a bag on that for a mask that I'm not a fan of really, but the bag itself is quite interesting. So the GSR itself has quite a good bag. The problem is for me it's just way too big, and that's one of the problems I also understand that British military issues was with it, was that, you know, it was just too big. So what you have here is quite an interesting design. So you've got what's basically a belt loop on the back if you wanted to put this on your belt. You've got obviously all the different straps on it, so you could do it that way. You can also open this up, and I'm pretty sure this is designed in a certain way to work with the MOLLE system, but I'm not sure exactly how. But I'm pretty sure, you know, you could button that straight to some of the chest rig carriers on a MOLLE sort of system as well. I don't actually have a chest rig where I can test that, but you know, in theory you can do that. You can take these bits off as well. That's sort of similar to a MOLLE system, if I can remember how these detach. I think at the bottom. Yeah, there you go. So you can, I won't do it all on the video, but if you look there you can see you can unbutton it and then basically pull this through to take it off. Or you could switch whatever's on there for something else, so you can reduce the size of these bags by doing that if you wanted it to be a bit more compact. Again, these aren't the best quality poppers in the world for actually reattaching. However, what I will say of the GSR bag is if you just wanted an MTP bag that's actually quite versatile, this would be good for that. You know, I think it's actually better as not as a gas mask bag, but as an actual, or respirator bag, but as a you know, just like really functional carry bag for stuff. So you've got those things there, you've got the straps. I think this is one of those bags that's meant to sit on your leg somehow or your thigh, which I'm not a fan of. I like, you know, bags just in a proper satchel way. Anyway, what you've got here is you've got the two bags on each side. As far as I can tell, both of these bits are removable, so you could just have the bag itself and not the side pouches. Then what you've got is the obviously Velcro and button-up lid. Then you've got a zip on the front there, so you can expand the bag to make it easier to take stuff in and out. Then your mask obviously just sits in there in the middle. And then you've got quite a big you know, capacity storage bag in there. So this uses obviously pouches on the side rather than using pouches on the inside. As far as I can tell, there's no hidden compartments in here. Oh wait, no, I do lie. There's a little bit of one down this side, but you couldn't really store very much in it. That almost feels... And there's another one on this side, actually. The weird thing is, on one side you can actually get more in it than the other one, so that's a bit of a weird design choice, but there you go. But, as said, I don't particularly like the GSR as a gas mask, but I think this would actually be really good as just a general storage bag if you wanted a light bag. You could probably fit this up to be like a really light rucksack or something as well if you wanted to. Because you've got, you know, the system, or you could have it clipped to, you know, like a vest. And if it was on the front of your vest, you know, that might be quite practical if it wasn't too bulky. But, you know, you could probably store quite a lot of stuff in here, is my point. You know, like I said, you've got that nice zip-up system for this, which I quite like. Because obviously once you've got your stuff in there, you zip it up, then it holds whatever's in there a bit tighter. Then when you put the lid down, it both velcros up and you sort of stretch the bag so it goes over one of the poppers. There we go. And then that's quite secure in there. So, as said, I'm not a fan of the GSR at all, but the bag itself is quite good. So hopefully you found this video interesting. As said, I couldn't really go over any of these bags in super detail, which is why I chose to do several bags in one video, rather than, you know, try and waffle on for ages and ages about how brilliant this individual bag design is. And as I said, there's lots of bags I've not covered. The ones I didn't really bother covering are just the ones where the mask simply sits in the bag and that's it. You know, there's either a zip or velcro or a button, and then you have the mask with its filter attached that just sits in the bag, so you just open it, pull out the mask, and that's it. There's nothing wrong with a bag design like that, but obviously it's not very interesting because it is literally just a fasten-up bag. I've got lots and lots and lots of gas mask bags like that. Lots of bags which are kind of like variants of each other. You know, where they've all got similar features but they're just done in slightly different ways. But overall I think this, you know, this gives you a good idea of what kind of satchels you can get. And the point I make to people as well, like I've done with this bag, is there's lots of these gas mask satchels you can buy on their own without a mask with them, very, very cheaply online or in army surplus stores, and you could probably find a way of using them as a really good carry bag. I'd probably recommend the stronger, more durable ones for that, not necessarily GP5 bags, although a GP5 bag, you know, would still suffice. But, you know, like I said, some of these bags, you know, they would be quite good kit bags, especially if you were using this style on the East German one, that's made out of like vinyl material that's a lot more waterproof, and the bag's a bit higher quality than this one, to be honest. Because you could, you know, really use these as proper satchel bags, but just far cheaper than you could buy a new, you know, satchel bag. So there you go.